I would rather stand on tiptoes while doing this instead of lower the camera, even though it's literally 3 feet away from me. That's the version of lazy I am. Guess what? I am in the mood to cook again. Or to be more accurate, I'm in the mood to be in the mood to learn how to cook better. And as I so enjoy doing, I am going to use my job as a YouTuber for accountability. If I make a video about something, I'm more likely to stick with it. So I'm not setting myself like a make all new meals for a week kind of challenge. I'm not even gonna do like cook through a whole cookbook or anything. There's no challenge here except learning to cook more things, specifically more international dishes, because a little bit of shade to Americans, but we don't have exactly great food culture, let's be real. I don't need to know how to make more casseroles or a hamburger, but I've gotten some really good cookbooks of late that cover either a bunch of different countries or that are specifically food from other countries that I'm so interested in. I really want to widen my palette when it comes to eating. I also want to widen my cooking abilities. I'm just gonna try, that was a big yawn. I'm just gonna try to cook a bunch of stuff over the next, who knows, unknown period of time. And I'm gonna vlog about it, I guess. And then whenever I feel like this video is long enough, I will stop the video, but hopefully not the cooking. How do we feel about this? It's too late. Your opinion, unfortunately, can no longer be taken into account. Let's go see what I'm gonna cook first. Or more accurately, again, let's be accurate. More accurately, let's go see what I need to go to the grocery store for, because even if I was cooking something very boring, the kitchen is currently bare. The cupboard's a bare! I'm down here. So all my cookbooks are over here. These are a few that I definitely could reference. They're like more herb, veggie, fruit focused. I think that's what they're literally all called. But this right here is my collection of more international cookbooks, along with one about pie. This is the one I got recently on my, I'm sorry, this framing is absolutely ridiculous, but I'm so lazy right now, I don't want to get up and change it. This is the one that I got on my bookstore trip, which was who knows how long ago by the time you're seeing this. So it's pretty cool because it goes through like 50 different countries, I think, and tells you about the food of that country. So like India, you've got a bunch of different information about Indian food that you could then go look up recipes for these things. Like it's just giving you sort of general information. And then they also have recipes, of course, all the way throughout with like what country or area that recipe is from. And on top of that, then they have like informational pages about different ingredients and the way those ingredients are used all around the world. Very cool book. I don't normally get cookbooks that don't have pictures of the food in them. I like to see things first and then usually decide I don't like how it looks. This one's all illustrations, but I think that's helpful. Ooh, so here, I just turned to it. One that I think I should learn how to make or try making is jollof rice. I think I'm gonna choose 2 right now so I can go out and get the ingredients for both of them. Because Lord knows I don't want to go to the grocery store for 1 meal's worth of ingredients. Actually, let's be real. I'm here alone right now. Matt's gonna be gone for like another month or so. So each of these is gonna be like 3 to 6 meals for me because I'm gonna have leftovers. Ooh, okay. Totally other type of food here. Oh God, I forgot I have to pronounce this now. It's pickle soup. I'm not gonna try to pronounce it. No, I am gonna try to pronounce it, but I'm sorry if I get it wrong. Zupa ogórkowa? Any Polish people to tell me if that's right? It's a pickle soup from Poland. That sounds fascinating. So I think those are gonna be my 2 things to start with. Jollof rice and zupa ogórkowa. See, this can be fun. This should be really fun, right? Maybe it won't all turn out okay, but at least it's like a cooking adventure. Turn cooking into an adventure. And then vlog about it so you feel like you have to do it. Woo! We are starting with the pickle soup. It's not really soup weather out, but also hot food is hot food, and we eat it all year round, so I'm not sure why it being liquid rather than solid makes much difference, you know? I have a bad habit of altering recipes as I use them. Maybe it's demand avoidance, maybe it's good old hubris. This is why I think Matt is actually a better cook than me. He will take a good recipe, follow it exactly, and end up with a delicious meal. Meanwhile, I'm like, what if I just leave that out and add more of this and switch those up? It'll be fine, yeah? But I don't think it's really fair to alter a recipe and then claim you don't like the original thing, right? So I'm gonna do my best to actually follow these pretty closely. Having said all that, I'm making a few changes here. Just small ones. They call for new potatoes, and I have some very new potatoes because I picked them out of a pot in my backyard yesterday. Only they are technically russet potatoes. I also have a feeling you're supposed to use regular size dill pickles, like the big boys, but I always have these small snacking ones on hand, so I'm going with those and guesstimating how many tiny pickles equal 6 big pickles, and probably guesstimating incorrectly. Honestly, that feels like a lot less than 6 pickles, because like pickles are pretty big if they're regular size, right? Should I do more? You do add the pickle brine to the soup as well though. I do have more, but I think I'm gonna leave it at that. I do love making soup, in theory at least, and I used to make a good veggie one kinda like this, but minus the pickles. So it's nice to be doing it again. Soup is usually just chopping everything up and then waiting, you know? Once you put everything in the pot, you don't have to do much. Grand. Okay. I am a crackers with soup kind of person. Hey, Bubby. Don't mind the puzzle? I started a puzzle while I was letting it boil. So, pickle soup. I mean, it smells really good. Every step of this smelled good because it smells good, but also it's been a really long time since I made something with like aromatics in it and cooking, like browning butter and garlic and dill and like actual cooking flavors. I've been cooking stuff, you know, like fried eggs. I'm sure more than that, but like I've been cooking very, very simple stuff, you know, macaroni and cheese, fried eggs, stuff like that. So just like the smell filling the kitchen of a real meal again was quite nice. It's making me more excited to do this, to be cooking more often. The soup's not for you. You just want a cracker. He does love a cracker. Bye. Oh, there's a nice pickle chunk. Pardon me eating like a little gremlin. We look the same. I just don't want to spill. But okay, this works. This works way better than I thought it would for sure. I mean, it's kind of just a nice vegetable soup. I like the sour cream that was used to thicken it at the end. That gives it some really nice flavor. But like, yeah, you just get the flavor of pickle running throughout, and it's not weird, it's nice. It's like putting pickles on a hot sandwich. It's that little burst of extra flavor. Pickle soup from Poland. I gave it a yes. I'll rate them like I rate books. I hate doing things as like 1 to 10 or 1 to 5 or something because I overthink that way too much. And then it's like, well, what if I say this is an 8? But then later on something else is an 8 and that makes this technically a 7. I way overthink ratings, so I prefer to just be like, was it good or not? And this one gets a yes. You're so nice. Hi. Are you the cutest potato? 3 days later, I had eaten the last of the soup for lunch, so it's time to make the jollof rice. Wanna know a fun fact? For my entire childhood, we never once rinsed our rice before cooking it, much less soaked it. A gasp 'twas heard round the world. Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing until after college. Oh, lordy. Oh, red onions are way more potent to my eyes. Like white, yellow onions don't really bother me that much. Bother me that much. The red ones sure do. Or purple? Do you call this a red onion or a purple onion? Where you're from. Ginger is one of those things I am slowly acquiring a taste for. I didn't like it my whole life, except in like baked sugary goods like gingerbread. And then like a year ago, I decided to start ingesting more and just dealing with it. And now I am even able to drink those power shots with ginger in them. Woot woot! We can change ourselves. There is a whole chili in here, and it said you could use a Scotch bonnet or habanero. Scotch bonnet scares me just by name. So I went habanero, and I'm still scared that that's gonna be really spicy. Apparently I need to start acquiring a taste for heat next. And yes, that is how I measure spices. Cooking is an art or a playground. This smells delightful already, but then anything with onion and garlic in it smells delightful to me. I'd wear onion and garlic as a perfume. My savory smell brings all the boys to the yard, 'cause they want dinner. Anyway, I have nothing more to say about that. Oh God, no! Just flip the lid. It did say to take the chili out after it cooked. That's not just me being a wimp about spice, I promise. Jollof rice. We're gonna use the real mic this time because I hated editing that audio. And if I hate editing it, someone probably hates listening to it. Somebody's gonna say this is disgusting too. It's fine, he's well behaved. He just sits here and stares. This smells amazing. And he's so cute. Oh! Y'all, that habanero, it did stuff. Whoa, dang. You don't even have to cut it up and put it in. You're not getting any of this, sir. It is too spicy. It's not too spicy for me, though. It's a little more spicy than I would normally go for, but I think it's good to, like, try to encourage myself to eat slightly spicier foods. It's not obliterating the flavor. That's my thing with spice. I'm like, one, I don't really want to be in pain when I eat. Two, if it gets too spicy, it's like the heat is just taking away the flavor because you're just on fire and you're not actually tasting anything. That's a little spicy for me, but it's okay. Also, my rice is ever so slightly undercooked, and I put in slightly more, like slightly, but still slightly more liquid than it said to. So I don't know if that's a liquid thing or a timing thing. That's always my thing with rice. If it ends up not getting fully cooked, I'm never sure which of those two things. Did it just not have enough water, or did it need more time? Rice experts, tell me all of your thoughts. This is delicious though. Oh, AC's coming on, so let me wrap this up. It's a yes for me. Good stuff, y'all. Oh yeah, and I decided on my next 2 recipes, so I can go out shopping for those. We're gonna do harira from Morocco, a spiced vegetable soup, and then also plav from Afghanistan. So once again, a soup and then a rice dish. I might also, this is a dessert, not a dinner food, but I am very fascinated by the carrot suspense. Where did it go? Great, I lost it. Halwa? It's like a carrot dessert, and that's super interesting to me. So I might try making that, but this I will try to cut down the recipe to just 1 serving, because I certainly don't need to be making 4 to 6 servings of a dessert. Let's do it. I gotta go grocery shopping again. Today we make harira. I keep wanting to flip my R's in the middle of that, and it's making it sound real weird. This one's got a lot of chopping involved, so I'm bringing out the big guns, aka this fancy knife I always forget we have because we store it by itself in a fancy knife drawer that I never open. Look at her go. Also, for anyone who's got a brain like mine, I'd like to note that I would never show you footage of me cutting myself in a video like this. You know, just in case you have an undying assumption that all chopping footage will end in blood, I hope that guarantee lets you breathe a little easier. Goodness, this is gonna be a lot of soup. A lot of soup with a lot of spices. Actually, this doesn't seem like much in quantity, to be honest. I mean, admittedly, I've never used harissa before, but that's such a small amount. Not speaking of small amounts though, I did actually leave out 2 cups of stock cause y'all, this is so much soup. We aren't even done. There's more stuff that goes in here. Okay, question for the masses. When a recipe says to use a can of chickpeas, no further instruction on the prep of that can, does that generally mean you should drain it or not? The canned chickpea world is fairly new to me. I did like a half drain, middle ground. After almost an hour of boiling, we finish it off with lemon juice and more cilantro and salt and pepper, and oh boy, I really hope I like this because I'm gonna have leftovers for a solid week. The recipe says serves 6. 6 what? I guess 6 very hungry people. I will say, because the simmering on this soup is done without the lid on the pot, it did reduce quite a bit. So me leaving out 2 cups of liquid, I think was fine. It just means that it's overall more of like a stew rather than a soup, which is really fine because I prefer things to be a little more thick and chunky instead of brothy. We are once again surrounded in puzzling. This is the mostly edge pieces puzzle from Yetch Studio. It's quite difficult. It was really interesting smelling like the cinnamon and the ginger along with all the savory spices. I know that's a way more common thing in a lot of other food cultures to like use all of those spices in savory stuff rather than just in sweeter items. But yeah, it's always really interesting to me because it's something my nose is definitely not super used to. Hi, what do you sniff? Oh, thank you. I'm procrastinating tasting it right now because I know it's very, very hot. Also, we're gonna go back to gremlin mode because it's soup. Well, it's not as drippy of soup. Feels safe to sit up straight. That's a solid vegetable soup. It also is very hot, temperature-wise. Not spicy hot. The spices in this, maybe just because they're spices I'm not as accustomed to eating together, but they've really just blended into like a nice flavor. Like, I think the first soup I could pick out like, oh yeah, I taste the ginger, I taste the garlic, I taste the whatever. This is very much like, if you asked me what spices are in this, couldn't tell you if I hadn't just made it myself. But it just has an overall nice flavor. Very warm and comforting on what was already a very warm day, but that's okay. Big yes on this one. I think this might be my favorite so far. Huzzah! It's plav time, baby. Please enjoy the puppy trying to catch a fly first. He tries so hard, he never gets it. The recipe says this is more traditionally made with lamb, but does suggest goat or chicken as a substitute, and since I'm not the hugest fan of lamb, I'ma stick with some chicken thighs. Also, I already had those, so, you know, huzzah. Both the plav and the halwa call for grated carrots, so I'm gonna go ahead and grate all the ones I have left, then just store the remainder until I'm ready to make the halwa. Probably in a couple days, cause I kinda randomly made another totally unrelated dessert yesterday. If you're wondering why I keep cramming food scraps into containers while I cook, I really want to start composting. I mean, we are supposed to compost here, major air quotes around compost, Like, the city gives us this little bin that we're supposed to fill and then dump with our yard cuttings for pickup. But I was cooking so little for a while there that I put some scraps in that bin, and then the next time I went to add more, it was growing a thriving community of mold and gnats, which, like, I don't love that in my kitchen. So I'm researching ways to actually compost in a suburban backyard. I think I'm gonna go with the tumbler option, but in the meantime, I wanted to start saving up my food scraps without them getting nasty yet. So I've been storing them in the fridge until 'tis time to throw them in an actual compost bin. Anyway, that had nothing to do with the plav, but we're cooking now, baby. Not with gas, unfortunately. I kind of miss our gas stove from like 3 apartments back. And if you're wondering if I grated any of my knuckles in that whole messy process, I invite you to casually clock the Band-Aid on my thumb. 'Tis but a flesh wound. Told you I'd never show you that though. Oh God. Ah! All right. I'm cumin everywhere. Ha! Y'all, this is why all my clothing ends up stained. Either I spill while eating or I splatter while cooking. I am not a careful person. Oh God, that smells really good. I love food. But here we have plav in all its glory. I'm just realizing that it might be pronounced like plove or something. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. Y'all, this is yet another puzzle. I have been blasting through these things lately. It's just like the only thing that I want to do right now in like my downtime, not working time. Hello. I really haven't been in the mood to stitch recently. And you know, I'm not gonna force myself to do that if I'm not in the mood. So it's basically been reading and puzzling. Now it is ploving time. Okay, you were supposed to like just cut a whole head of garlic in half and throw that in. But when I did that, my head of garlic kind of just fell apart into a bunch of different cloves. As usual, smells amazing. Also, according to the recipe book, Richard Nixon really liked this dish. What an interesting tidbit to provide. Are you a good boy? Yes, you are. Let's see if my rice is cooked properly this time. Ooh, very nice. Like a good mild flavor, because the main 2 spices in this were coriander and cumin, and then of course you have garlic, onion, bay, and the rice is cooked this time. Huzzah. I'm loving these rice dishes that have stuff mixed into them. Like growing up, we only had 2 kinds of rice that we would eat. We either make white rice and then something would be put on top like stroganoff, or we'd make what we called herbed rice, which was basically just rice with a bunch of herbs in it, and we'd eat that like plain with like a chicken breast and broccoli kind of thing. But we didn't do really dishes that had rice with other stuff like this. It makes the rice so much more exciting. Oh, and the AC is coming on. So, plav, it's a yes for me. Dessert time. Let's make halwa. I started by weighing my pre-grated carrots to see what percentage of the recipe I needed to make, but 15.9 ounces. Recipe called for 1 pound. It's like I planned it. Oh God. This recipe requires you to cook the carrots on the stove for 45 minutes to an hour. I did not read ahead. Yeah, so first you're supposed to warm and slightly dry out the carrots, then you add the milk and just cook it on low for almost an hour or a full hour, stirring every 5 minutes. Basically, you're evaporating all the liquid while softening the carrots, slowly. And wow, it's been an hour! An hour of my stove making this horrid noise. It's so bad. It didn't say what type of sugar to use, so I took the liberty of adding light brown sugar, cause flavor. Then there's ghee, and more cooking, and a tiny bit of cardamom, and a pistachio garnish, and tra-la! I don't think I'm gonna eat all of this. It was more for the looks. Although, you know, it's a carrot dessert, so that's a veggie, right? It makes it feel a lot healthier. Also, yes, another puzzle. I'll just move that out of the frame. You're so zoomed out right now. Come a little closer. Good, good. It said to eat this either warm or room temperature, and I did just take it straight out of the pan, so it might be hot. You cannot eat anything without him being up here. Are you my darling? Ooh, I like that. It's not overly sweet. I thought it might be really sweet from smelling it because it was smelling very caramelly, whatever. At the end there, once it had the sugar and the butter in it, it balances really well with the carrots, so then it's not super sugary. Yeah, I really like that. I don't know how often I would bother making it since it takes an hour of going into the kitchen every 5 minutes to check on it, but I'm glad I made it this time. The top layer was warm. Underneath was still hot. The cardamom is really nice because that's not a spice that we use super frequently in America. So taste bud wise, we're not generally very used to it. I made like cardamom Chelsea buns one time and took them to work, and granted, I think I overdid it on the cardamom. It was a very strong flavor, but it was like the only thing I ever took to my job that didn't get eaten. Like one person ate some and said that she loved it and no one else wanted to. It was a very small amount, first of all, and also I just think it goes with the carrots really, really well. So it's a gentle flavor. An introduction to cardamom. All right, fun dessert. I've decided we're gonna make one more dinner dish in this video, and then hopefully I'll keep doing it afterward. But take it away! Tomorrow. I'm gonna make it tomorrow. There's a lot of panting happening over here. Last thing we are making is mohinga from Myanmar. And this one called for rice powder, but also told you how to make it. So I started by getting that ready. The recipe says it's traditionally made with catfish, but you can use any mild whitefish. I got Dover sole, because that's what was available. 2 pounds of it, which, yikes! That's a lot of fish. The puppy would gladly consume it all for me, if given the opportunity. Now we chop up a bunch of good smelling stuff and throw it in a pan with the fish and some water to make a broth. While that's simmering, I'm gonna make a paste out of even more good smelling stuff. Oh, whoops. Y'all, the recipe said shallot, and I know what a shallot is, but for some reason, even when I was grocery shopping, my brain interpreted that as scallion. Do I have a shallot? I do not have a shallot. Well, we're going with scallions. Oh well, this still smells fabulous, so I'm sure it's fine. The fish is removed, the broth is strained, then the paste and some spices are heated in oil before you add the fish back in. It said to whisk the rice powder into the boiling broth and then cook until thickened, but it didn't say how long that would take or how thick it would get, and after a very slight change towards the beginning, nothing seemed to be happening, so I just moved on. I'm only prepping 1 serving of the rice noodles, of course, since they're supposed to be like, you know, fresh for every meal, and then I also skipped the hard-boiled egg garnish, because I don't like hard-boiled eggs, so we're just going with a bit of cilantro on top. Don't mind the mess. No! I made the mistake of leaving the door open too long today, and now there are numerous flies in the house. So I just went on a killing spree, which, like, you know, flies are annoying me when I actually start whacking them with a towel, because I don't normally kill bugs. I'm like a catch and release or a herd it towards the door kind of person. I've had it up to here with the bzzz. Anyway, this was kind of the most stressful dish I've made yet. I think it was just because there were several different steps and elements and pans, a lot of stuff going on at once. But making the rice powder was interesting, and that paste smelled so good. Like, the whole thing does smell good. I have a feeling it's not supposed to look like this. I don't think your fish is supposed to disintegrate. Is this a good example of mohinga? Probably not. However, all the same flavors are in there, so I assume it should still taste like whatever it's supposed to taste like. I'm literally using a fork because there's not really a soup or a broth anymore. It's more like a stew. A fish stew with noodles. I'm sure you would like it, wouldn't you? Oh! I think I got a peppercorn. Yeah, so because my fish like disintegrated into the broth, it was kind of hard to get it back out without also getting the chunks of lemongrass and ginger and the peppercorns. So I just got a whole peppercorn. That's not supposed to be there. Maybe I should have just cut it up bigger, but also like different fish do different things when you cook them. So it might just be that like sole is not great for being cooked in this way. It's good. It's not blowing me away, which again is probably entirely on my preparation of the dish and not the dish itself. I like the lightness of like the lemongrass, ginger, garlic flavor, turmeric. There's a lot of turmeric in it. Oh, my mic's gonna die. Let me go change batteries and then we'll wrap this up. Okay, so yeah, this worked really, really well. It accomplished the things that I wanted to accomplish. It kept me cooking new things consistently so that every single day, either through a new dish or through the leftovers, I had like a good hearty meal at least once, which has been especially helpful because I've been home alone this whole time. When Matt is gone, I tend to eat out and order food less, which sounds like, oh, great, so that means you're cooking, right? No, I get into a bad habit of like eating snacky dinners, which can at least involve a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables because I genuinely like that stuff, but it's not always like well balanced and super healthy. So having at least one like nice soup or rice dish every day has been really, really good. And I do really hope to continue it now that I'm not making a video. I can do things without tricking myself into doing them. Hello, welcome back. Let me go murder a fly real fast. Where'd you go, fly? I'm gonna end up spraining my wrist doing this. Are you the master of the house now? I think my favorite dish, though granted, it's been like a month, so I don't fully remember anymore, but I think my favorite dish the first time was the harira, and my favorite dish as leftovers was the plav. That was really good. Like every time I had it after that, I just put a little bit of water in it every time I reheated it so that it would like moisten. What are some other dishes from around the world that I should try to make? I think the reason this worked so well is because that cookbook is very much like, here's just some normal hearty dinner kind of foods. I mean, it has a variety of stuff in there. It has all sorts of things, but I chose the ones that were just sort of normal dinner dishes, whereas most of my other international cookbooks, because this is what I'm usually attracted to, are from really experienced chefs. And so it's like really creative, interesting dishes, and that can be a little bit intimidating because I'm like, oh God, I already don't know this cuisine, and that looks delicious, but like I'm seeing a lot of steps and a lot of ingredients I don't recognize and stuff. So I think this was helpful because most of it was just like soups, rice dishes, you know, fairly basic stuff. Anyway, I gotta wrap this up because I need to turn on the AC in here. Can you hear the puppy panting in the background? All right, well, your head's not gonna even be in there. But that really balances with dog fur in my food. It's just what happens when you have an animal. Don't put that in. I have killed your friends and I will do the same to you. Is your little hiney shaking? That is that.